Great. Hi, everybody. Welcome. There are 7 people in the room. Dr. Campos, well, let's go ahead and start. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the special meeting for the Board of Public Works for today, Tuesday, March 31st, 2020.
Roll call for today. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. We have Commissioner Villegas in the room, Commissioner Caloza in the room, Commissioner James in the room, and Commissioner Davis in the room. We are also joined by Commissioner Garcia via Zoom meeting, virtual. And Mr. President, you do have a quorum. Currently, we have one person on the line for public comment, Mr. Mike. I will go ahead and unmute him at this time. Mike, from General Public Comment. If you can unmute your microphone, please. Let us know which item you'd like to speak on. Mike, we can hear you. Mike, can you go ahead and unmute your mic again? Mr. President?
Let me go through the rules of public comment again, since we're on this alternative meeting schedule as a result of the crisis. As we had indicated during our meeting on Friday, general public comment, we're following the City Council's public comment procedure. General public comment we are taking general public comment for these meetings. It's 1 minute per person, although if we only have one person, we'll do it to 2 minutes. It just depends on volume. And then we are taking public comment for up to 3 items at a minute per piece. If you want to speak on more than 3 items, you certainly can, but your time limit is 3 minutes. Comprehensive. So, Dr. Campos, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. We do not have any commentary under the Neighborhood Council comment section. We do have one person by the name of Mike who's on the line for public comment. Mike, can you unmute your microphone, please?
Oh, sorry. I'm with the City Attorney's Office. I'm just listening in.
You're just listening. Perfect.
Okay.
If you do want to speak on any of the items, if you can just raise your hand. If you're dialing in, you can press *9, and that will raise your hand. If not, on your lower right-hand side or lower left-hand side of the pane, there is a raise hand button. You can just raise your hand and I will chime you in. Thank you, Mike, for listening in. Mr. President, with that said, we do not have any commentary on the Google form that we provided the general public, and we also do not have any commentary at this time for general public comment, nor any of the items for today's agenda.
Okay, well, let's we'll close all of public comment at the end of the meeting. Because of people trying to dial in, I don't want to close it ahead of time. And if people want to call in and speak on an item, as long as it's still pending, we'll allow that to happen. And we'll leave general public comment open until the end of the meeting. Let's go ahead and, Dr. Campos, on agenda item number 1, we have some bids. Do you need number 9 taken care of before number 1, Dr. Campos?
I do not.
Okay, then let's go ahead with number 1. We have bids to be opened for, it looks like 2 public works projects, maybe 3. 3, okay.
3 in total. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer, Board of Public Works. Just give me about a minute just to set up here as we get the bids. We will open up 3 bids for today. The first bid is from the 6th Street Viaduct Mission Myers Roundabout Project in Council District 14. The city has estimated that project to be at $1,444,518 even. The second bid that we will open up for, or the second project we'll open up bids for, is for the Silver Lake Boulevard Underpass Sidewalk and Arches Project. This is a rebid in Council District 13 for a total estimate of $632,264. And the third and final bid, that project that we will open up bids for, is for the Burnwood Avenue and Figueroa Street Storm Drain Project in Council District number 14. City has estimated the third project to be at $1,731,600 even. Mr. President and Commissioners, just for clarification, the Donald C. Tillman Water Reclamation Plant bid that was scheduled for today was extended to Tuesday, April 21st, 2020, so we will not open up bids for that project. Again, that's for the Donald C. Tillman Water Reclamation Plant project. Bids were extended to April 21st on that project. We will now begin to open up bids for the first project. For the 6th Street Viaduct Mission Myers Roundabout project, we did receive 3 bids in total. Again, this is in Council District number 14. Total estimate of the project is $1,444,518 even. The first bid received is from Axiom Group for a total bid amount of $1,552,359.73. That's 1,552,359.73 from Axiom Group. The second bid for the first project is from Green Building Corporation for a total bid amount of $2,306,045 even. That's 2306045 from Green Building Corporation. The third and final bid received for the first project is from Granite Construction Company for a total bid amount of $1,820,001 even. That's 1820001 from Granite Construction Company. Mr. President, that concludes the bid openings for the first project. We will now begin to open up bids for the second project. For the second project, which is the Silver Lake Boulevard Underpass Sidewalks and Arches project. For this project, we did receive 3 bids. The first bid from the second project.
One moment, Dr. Campos. Mr. Jordan, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. Thank you. Go ahead, Dr. Campos. Just running a test of the system.
Great. Commissioner Garcia, assuming the same thing for you on your end.
Okay.
Second project is for the Silver Lake Boulevard Underpass and Sidewalk and Arches project in Council District 13. We received 3 bids. The first bid is from Alameda Construction Services Incorporated for a total bid amount of $864,162.23. That's 864,162.23 from Alameda Construction Services Incorporated. The second bid for the second project is from Green Building Corporation for a total bid amount of $1,716,832 even. That's 1716832 from Green Building Corporation. The third and final bid received for the second project is from Olympos Painting Incorporated. That's OLYMPOS Painting Incorporated for a total bid amount of $1,276,548 even. That's 1276548 from Olympos Painting Incorporated. Mr. President, that concludes the bid openings for the second project. On today's agenda, we will now begin to open up bids for the third project. The third and final project, again, is for the Burnwood Avenue and Figueroa Street Storm Drain Project in Council District 14. City has estimated this project to be at $1,731,600 even. We did receive 9 bids in total. Again, that's 9 bids. The first bid is from MNR Construction Incorporated for a total bid amount of $1,938,260 even. That's 1938260 from MNR Construction Incorporated. The second bid is from Vasilch Incorporated for a total bid amount of $1,383,911.60. That's 1,383,911.60 from Vasilch Incorporated. The third bid is from Blois Construction Incorporated for a total bid amount of $1,971,151 even. That's 1,971,151 from Blois Construction Incorporated. For the record, line item number 17 has been lined out by the contractor and it has not been initialed. Again, that's line item number 17. For the record, the total is $65,476 even. The fourth bid received for this project is from the Abdul Corporation, doing business as Lee Construction Company, for a total bid amount of $1,863,815 even. That's 1,863,815 from Lee Construction Company. The fifth bid is from Coolidge & Sons LP for a total bid amount of $2,251,155 even. That's 2,251,155 from Coolidge & Sons LP. For the record, line item number 4 has been lined out and initialed by the contractor. The next bid is from GRBCON Incorporated, Gripcon Incorporated, for a total bid amount of $1,619,380 even. That's 1,619,380 from Gripcon Incorporated. The next bid is from Clark Contracting Corporation for a total bid amount of $1,744,983 even. That's 1,744,983 from Clark Contracting Corporation. The eighth bid received is from Mike Pillich & Sons Incorporated for a total bid amount of $1,526,290 even. That's 1,526,290 from Mike Pillich & Sons Incorporated. For the record, the total bid amount has been lined out and initialed by the contractor. The ninth and final bid received for the third project is from Cordich Construction Incorporated for a total bid amount of $1,425,441 even. That's 1,425,441 from Cordich Construction Incorporated. Mr. President, that does conclude the bid openings for the third project and all bids for today's agenda.
Well, thank you, Dr. Campos. Thank you, Kumi. That'll be the bids for today. And the bids, is there a second to my motion that for an order that the bids have been opened, declared, and received? By Commissioner Caloza. Any objection? Commissioner Garcia, with you remote, any objection on number 1?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, so that's an aye from Commissioner Garcia. Any issue sending number 1 forthwith? We'll send number 1 forthwith. Let's go to agenda item number 9. Authorization, while we're on the bid topic, authorization to open bids. Recommending that the board authorize the board delegate in the event of meeting cancellation, rescheduling, and or lack of quorum during the COVID-19 emergency to A, have the board's executive officer or assistant executive officer in the presence of 1 board member to receive an open bid scheduled to be received at any of its scheduled meetings or at 10 a.m. on a scheduled bid due date. B, authorize the president or 2 members of the Board of Public Works to declare said bids. And 3, authorize the board's executive officer to extend a bid due date and allow the respective bureau to issue an addendum to reflect said due date extension. So, Dr. Campos, we'll let you summarize, we have done this before, a first cousin of this, when we had our board meetings off-site. But this is a different situation with the emergency, so you'll describe what is being asked here?
Absolutely. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. For the record, we do not have any public comments for this item. The item before you is a motion for the emergency COVID plan to receive, open, declare bids. We have done this before in the past when it comes to off-site meetings. Anytime there is a bid coming in on a date that we are scheduled to be off-site in the evening time, the board has authorized myself or the assistant executive officer to receive those bids and then come back the following board meeting to open and declare those bids before you in a public forum. This motion before you is an offshoot, if you will, or a variation of that motion, and that is during the COVID emergency response plan, as long as the emergency is activated, we want to have a plan in place so that we can receive those bids as opposed to extending the bid due dates. For example, last week when we had a board meeting and it was canceled, we needed to communicate to all bidders that we would extend those bids. There was no formal communication. I went ahead and authorized that communication so that an addendum could be issued to all bidders in advance so that they would know not to submit their bids until today. We want to have that type of authority in place so that if it does happen again, in the event that the board does not meet or cannot meet or does not have a quorum, this motion would allow myself or the assistant executive officer to receive those bids. We would require and are asking that one of the commissioners be present so that we can have someone here to witness and testify that we are actually opening those bids. Another deviation with this motion is compared to that of the off-site meeting motion is that we would allow the president or two commissioners to declare those bids as opposed to coming back to the board and waiting for those bids to be declared. This is a proposal that would allow us to move the projects forward and allow the bureaus to start assessing the bids so that they can either come back and make a declaration or recommendation to award the contract. And the last variation on this motion is to authorize me to extend any bid due dates in the event that this board does not meet or doesn't have a quorum. It would allow me to go ahead and authorize the extension of those bid due dates so that those bidders would be properly notified so that they can then submit their bids at the next scheduled meeting.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Campos. Any questions in the hearing room? Seeing none, Commissioner Garcia, any questions?
No, not at all.
And
Okay, thank you.
just for clarification, this is only during the COVID-19 emergency. As soon as
Correct.
the emergency is lifted, this motion would become null and no longer valid.
Right, and I think that's clear from the agenda item as well, but thank you for the emphasis on that, Dr. Campos. Mr. Jordan, is this alternate procedure during COVID-19 okay with you?
Yeah, I'm looking at the administrative code right now, and I believe this does comply with the code requirements.
Okay, then that's an okay from our city attorney. With that, I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 9, seconded by Commissioner Davis and Commissioner Villegas and Commissioner Caloza. Just for the record, as well as Commissioner Garcia, so that'll be the order on, that's correct, Commissioner Garcia, I saw your hand?
Yes.
Okay, then that'll be the order on agenda item number 9. We'll send number 9 forthwith. Colleagues, agenda item number 10 has been withdrawn currently during the COVID emergency. We are going to suspend the oral reports on these various street update reports because there's not the same traffic impact that has been occurring during this COVID emergency, and we will decide whether or not we want to revisit that again after the COVID emergency has passed, hopefully sooner rather than later, of course. Agenda item number 8 is an authority for expenditure. First of all, let's confirm that Ms. Nosaka is available. Dr. Campos, you'll find out if we have Ms. Nosaka available.
I will. Give me 1 second.
Okay, one moment, everyone. Okay, shall I go to a different item?
Mr. President, Ms. Nisaka is not on the line. Yes, if you can go to the next item, that would be great.
Okay, let's go ahead and take agenda item number 2. Mr. Louis, is Mr. Louis on the line? I see you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you as well. Let me call the item, Mr. Louis, and then we'll go to you. Agenda item number 2, task order solicitation number 56 and a budget increase for Harrison Associates pre-qualified on-call civil engineering services consultants list, recommending that the board authorize the city engineer to issue a revision of the task for solicitation number 56 to Harrison Associates, increasing the budget authority from $139,921 to $200,000, which includes contingency for a joint development study for fire and police facilities planning support services. Mr. Louis, first of all, Dr. Campos, we don't have any cards or speakers on number 2, correct?
No speakers on item 2, correct.
Okay. Mr. Louis, go ahead, sir.
Good morning. My name is Richard Louis with the Bureau of Engineering, and today I am presenting this board report to request authority to revise the task for solicitation for fire and police planning support services, to include a joint development study, and to increase the budget authority of this task from $139,921 to $200,000. Am I coming through okay?
Yes.
Great. Let me give a little background. The Los Angeles Fire Department and the Los Angeles Police Department maintain facilities across the city of Los Angeles that were built over many years and are in various states of repair. Some of these facilities have been replaced over the years, but additional replacement and or repairs are needed to ensure that LAFD and LAPD can provide the highest level of service to the city's residents. Therefore, City Council directed the Bureau of Engineering to work with the fire and police departments to identify and prioritize projects to be included in a potential future public safety facility bond measure. Therefore, on July 12, 2019, the Bureau of Engineering issued task order solicitation number 56 to all 9 civil engineering consultants on the pre-qualified on-call civil engineering services list. The scope of that task order was to develop a planning document for new or replacement fire and police facilities. 3 firms submitted proposals, and a panel of Bureau of Engineering employees conducted evaluation and scoring of the proposals and selected Harrison Associates. A notice to proceed, or NTP for short, NTP number 1 was issued to Harrison Associates on August 15, 2019, in the amount of $139,921, which is within the City of Engineers' authority of issuing task orders up to $150,000. However, additional scope is needed to perform a joint development study to investigate the potential of co-locating fire or police facilities with other uses such as housing, office, or other city facilities. Harrison Associates submitted a proposal, and BOE negotiated the cost of the joint development study in the amount of $53,223 plus $6,856 for contingency. That brings the total not to exceed amount of the NTP number 1 plus joint development study to $200,000, including contingency. Due to the urgency of this task, the Bureau of Engineering reached out to Commissioner Caloza, and on February 7, 2020, Commissioner Caloza provided emergency approval to issue this revision to the task for a not-to-exceed amount of $200,000. For this on-call contract, the city has set anticipated subconsultant participation levels of 12% for Minority Business Enterprise, or MBE for short, and 2% for Women Business Enterprise, or WBE for short. Based on the latest invoice dated December 11, 2019, Harrison Associates has achieved participation levels of 12% MBE and 2.1% WBE to date. Please note there's a typo in the report on page 2 where it indicates a number of 120 before the number of 12%. For the revised task order, Harrison Associates needed to add an architectural subconsultant to complete the joint development study, However, the subconsultant had to go through the process of receiving their MBE certification. Therefore, during the initial draft of the board report, the architectural subconsultant was reported as Other Business Enterprise, or OBE for short, and that reduced the MBE pledge to 1.55% and WBE pledge to 9.32%. However, we're pleased to indicate that the subconsultant has since received their MBE certification. So that would have changed the subconsultant pledge to 18.92% MBE and 9.32% WBE. So in summary, the total cost of NTP number 1 plus the additional cost of the joint development study is $200,000, including contingency. And so this board report is following the emergency approval to request approval of the board to issue that revised task and to increase the budget authority up to $200,000. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Louie. It's good to see you at the Board of Public Works again. You were more of a regular attendee, and I know that you've had a promotion or two along the way, and so it's great to see you back. And as always, your report is easily understood and thorough. We'll start with Commissioner Villegas.
Thank you, President James. Just if you can touch on the additional scope that Harris and Associates will perform. You said that they need this to co-locate fire and police facilities with other uses. If you can just explain a little bit about that. It seems to me, just from your report and just from the board report, that the increase is going to cover those.
Yes. So the original NTP was for a planning study to look at the potential fire and police facilities that would be included in a potential future bond. The joint development study is something separate. The joint development study studies the potential of co-locating that fire or police facility with other use, such as an office or housing or other facility. And so that's what the revised task order solicitation is for that increased scope, doing a study. And so this, again, could mean, let's say you have a fire station, let's say on the first floor and second floor, and on the third floor you have an office building. What sort of considerations would need to be thought of to consider that co-location? So again, it's just a study, and it's trying to draw out what are those different considerations that might need to be thought of if the city wanted to go towards co-locating maybe a few facilities. And the total of all of that work, the original NTP plus the joint development study plus contingency, is $200,000.
Thank you. I just have to make a comment here. I think it's very creative, just the way that you're looking at all opportunities. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Villegas. Commissioner Garcia, any questions?
No, I'm okay. Good report.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Davis?
Yes, first, just a couple of observations. I think it's really interesting, the joint development study task given to consultants in terms of exploring the possibilities of housing and office as it could potentially kind of be involved with the operation of the fire or police stations. And look forward to whatever those possible results might be. I don't know if there are any other municipalities that are doing just that. So anyway, I just wanted to acknowledge that unique task being given to the consulting firm. And then finally, my final observation is that in terms of the work that you have been doing here, it is commendable the effort that has been put into the work by the consultant in terms of inclusion. And I think it was a certainly great effort to be diverse in the inclusion here, and I wanted to acknowledge that. In terms of the funding, Mr. Louie, for the project, in terms of us looking at this is not a lot of money at all, but the funding here, is it local funding that we are allocating for this? What is the source of the funding for this? Do you know?
I will have to get back to you. I do know that the funds were transferred to the project from the Capital Improvement Expenditure Program through the fiscal year 2019-2020 First Construction Project Report. I do not know the fund source as they transfer that, but I do know it's from the Capital Improvement Expenditure Program.
Well, certainly let me know at your convenience. I'd just be curious about knowing the level of funding, but I definitely support the motion.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Davis. That sounds like a motion from Commissioner Davis on agenda item number 2.
Yes.
I'll second it. Any objection? Any objection, Commissioner Garcia?
None for me.
You're okay with that, Commissioner Garcia?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Then without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 2. Any issue sending number 2 forthwith? We'll send number 2 forthwith. Let's go to agenda item number 3 and find out if Mr. Drucker is available.
I'm here. Hopefully you can hear me, Commissioner.
Yes, we can, Mr. Drucker. One moment. Let me call the item, then we'll go to you. Agenda item number 3 is in Council District number 3. Sole Source Task Order number 65 for Arthur Gensler Jr. and Associates, the Canoga Park Stage Arts Lab Project, recommending that the board authorize the city engineer to issue the source task order to Arthur Gensler Jr. and Associates from the pre-qualified on-call architectural and related professional services consultants list to provide design services for the Canoga Park Stage Arts Lab Project with a budget authority of not to exceed $75,000. Dr. Campos, any speakers on number 3?
No speakers.
Okay, Mr. Drucker, go ahead on number 3.
Good morning, Commissioners. Yucker, President, President, Engineering requested to the office and all the motions used and approved council to direct suspension to end disposal.
Mr. Drucker, let's, hang on one moment. Dr. Campos, can you anticipate what may be going on there?
I can do some troubleshooting, but it sounds like it's just an internet broadband connection at this point in time because we have the phone number.
Okay, Mr. Drucker, would you try starting again and just speak a little slower and a little louder?
Okay, let me turn up my volume as well.
Maybe if you...
And to Neil Drucker, engineering, the engineer at the request Council District 3 has been requested to enter into.
Yeah, Mr. Drucker, we're having trouble. We're going to go to another item.
Great. One thing that you can do, Mr. Drucker, if you can hear us, you can dial in by phone and then enter the meeting ID, and then you'll be connected to the phone. We do have a phone system connected in the room as well.
Yeah, why don't you try that, Neil? Neil?
Neil,
Okay.
can you hear us?
Okay, maybe, well, we'll find out.
Okay.
We'll
We-
come back.
We do have Irene Nasaka on the line as well.
Okay, let's go ahead and go then to number 8, Authority for Expenditure, Council Districts 3, 5, and 8, American Integrated Services Incorporated, Street Services and the Office of Accounting are requesting board approval and execution of an authority for expenditure in the amount of $42,945 for past due invoices where services have been rendered but contract term has expired prior to the service rendering date. This is for hazardous materials disposal for fire stations 58 and 105 and the South Los Angeles Animal Shelter. Ms. Nasaka, are you available on number 8?
Yes, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. Let me just confirm we don't have a speaker in the queue on number 8.
That is correct, Mr. President. No speakers.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Nasaka. We can hear you.
Okay, as of right, the amount is $26,280 for 3 AIS invoices.
Hello?
Is that the same amount? Yes. Can you hear me?
Would you start over one more time, ma'am?
Okay, amount for the ASE should be 26,280.
I'm not,
Ms. Nasaka, if you can hear us, this is
Item
Fernando
8.
Campos, Executive Officer. We cannot hear you. If you can just increase the volume on your end.
I'm sorry, can you guys hear me?
yes, let's try again. Why don't you start over again, ma'am?
Okay, so ASE is for $26,280.
Right?
It's for 3 invoices. As stated, the contract expired at the time service was provided.
Right?
First time we're doing this AFE. Normally, we just submit the invoices when the contract was still good. I've been doing so for the past 3-4 years, working with the Board of Public Works.
And
But
this
when
is,
the contract wasn't expired, right?
okay, and this is it's for hazardous materials disposal, and these are services that have been identified as critical and necessary, correct?
Yes, correct.
All right, does anybody have any questions on this item? Any questions, Commissioner Garcia?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll make a motion
I
that we,
actually have a question.
I'm sorry?
I do have a question. Can you hear me?
Okay, yes, go ahead.
Irene, is this after this, are we done, or are we going to extend or renew the contract?
We're currently no longer using AIS. We're using another contract.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. That's all.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Then I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 8 so we can pay the bill. Seconded by Commissioner Villegas.
Thank you.
Commissioner Garcia?
I'll second it too.
Okay. Commissioner Garcia seconds it too, so that'll be her vote on the item. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 8. Any issue sending 8 forthwith? We'll send number 8 forthwith. Thank you, Ms. Nasaka. We can clear you on the line now. Thank you. Let's go to, let's try, Mr. Drucker, did you happen to call in? Let's see. Commissioner Closa, would you reach out to Mr. Drucker separately and see if we can get him to call in?
I'm here now.
Oh, there you are.
Neil Drucker.
Okay, we can hear you. Go ahead, Mr. Drucker. Let me call number 3 again.
Thank you.
Sole source task order for Arthur Gensler Jr. and Associates for the Canoga Park Stage Arts Lab project, recommending that the board authorize the city engineer to issue the task order to Gensler from the pre-qualified on-call architectural and related professional services consultants list for design services for the Canoga Park Stage Arts Lab project with a budget authority not to exceed $75,000. Go ahead, sir.
Good morning again. I apologize for the earlier connection. This is Neil Drucker of Engineering. As discussed earlier, the city engineer has been requested by the city council, specifically Council District 3, to enter into a sole source contract with Gensler and Associates for the Canoga Park Stage Arts Lab project, CAPSOL, in an amount not to exceed $75,000 for design services. Just to let the board know, as I said earlier, a motion was introduced and approved by the Los Angeles City Council, so directing the city engineer. We have reviewed this request with the city attorney, Ted Jordan, and he was in concurrence with the recommendations herein. Basically, to let the board know, we've asked Gensler and Associates to do 2 things. The first, a preliminary engineering and architectural study in the amount of approximately $39,542 allocated. And this is because there are no as-built or construction plans that we could find for this building. The facility was formerly a private playhouse called the West Valley Playhouse. It was acquired by the city of Los Angeles a little less than a year ago, and we were unable to get a lot of history at that point, so we've asked Gensler to go ahead and do that first. And then based on the results of that study and a prioritization of the work, we have approximately $300,000 in construction funds available. So we've set aside $35,000 approximately of the $75,000 for Gensler to actually prepare the design and construction plans for the prioritized work. So that'll be about 6 months from now. Just to let the commission know as well, this facility is part of an overall renovation and use-serving complex that the Department of Cultural Affairs is creating, which includes the Madrid Theater and the Canova Park Youth Arts Center, which are all located about a block away from this facility in Canova Park. And the idea is that this facility would act as a temporary theater while the Madrid Theater is undergoing a major renovation, also designed by Gensler and Associates. And then once this project is done, not only could they use it as a temporary facility for the Madrid Theater, Madrid holds a number of more patrons, about 400 versus 100 at this theater, but at least it could, again, hopefully in the future, serve the public. And then for the long term, the thought is that the three facilities, the Youth Arts Center, the Madrid Theater, and Capsol, would all be able to serve as a really good youth art hub and community hub for this community. And for example, let's say production is on at the Madrid Theater, they could use Capsol for another production to rehearse or to prepare for, or for other youth-serving activities, so that folks aren't locked out of cultural and art type programs in that area. So it is an excellent project. And just let the board know, finally, the city has set various BIP or business inclusion program outreach requirements and anticipated participation levels in the amount of 18% MBE, 4% WBE, 25% SBE, 8% EBE, and 3% DVBE. And just to let the board know, the consultant is pledging an MBE participation of 25.48%, WBE of 0, SBE and EBE of 42.2% each, DVBE participation of 0%, and OBE of 20.90%. I just want to remind the board that it's a very limited task, only $75,000, and I think the consultant has actually done a very good outreach effort, despite the fact that there's not a lot of sub-consulting opportunities on this project. And then finally, just to let the board know, the project is funded with CRLA excess non-housing bond proceeds, or EBP funds, from the former CRALA. Unless you have any questions, that would be my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Drucker. Any questions at all? Commissioner Garcia, any questions?
No questions.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the explanation, Mr. Drucker. I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 3 with a second from Commissioner Caloza. Any objection? Commissioner Garcia, any objection?
No, I wanted to second it too.
Okay, and that's a second from Commissioner Garcia as well. So without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 3. Any issue sending number 3 forthwith? We'll send number 3 forthwith. Agenda item number 4, Council Districts 4 and 13. Task order solicitation for SOMAS pre-qualified on-call consultants list for the Glendale Boulevard, Hyperion Avenue Complex of Bridges Improvement Project, recommending that the board authorize the city engineer to issue the task for solicitation to SOMAS from the pre-qualified on-call bridge and civil engineering and other design and support services consultants list to provide the Phase 2 final plan, specifications, and estimate the final design documents and right-of-way services for the Glendale Boulevard Hyperion Avenue Complex of Bridges Improvement Project, as stated in task order solicitation number 004L, as in Larry, with a budget authority of $1,600,000, which includes contingency. Dr. Campos, do we have anybody in the queue on number 4?
Mr. President, we do have someone dialed in, number 174709. If you can hear me, this is Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. You're in the public comment queue to speak. If you can unmute your microphone, please, and let us know which item you'd like to speak on. We can hear you now. Caller number 174709.
I wonder if this is AGK and Barrow Grove. I called in for item number 3, which has been approved, so I don't have any public comment.
Thank you very much, sir. Item number 3 was already approved. We are on item number 4.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. You can continue listening, and just if I can remind you just to mute your microphone if you'd like to continue listening to us, you are more than welcome to. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. So on number 4, do we have Ms. Lau?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead, Shirley.
Thank you. Good morning, Shirley Lau with the Bureau of Engineering Bridge Improvement Division. I'll just start with a quick background discussion of this overall project. The Glendale Hyperion Complex of Bridges was split into 2 phases to expedite project delivery. Phase 1 was to build a pedestrian bridge over the LA River, also known as the Red Car Pedestrian Bridge, and that was completed and opened to the public in January of 2020. So this report covers a task order for the Phase 2 of the bridge complex, which includes the remaining work, which is to structurally upgrade all the bridges along the Glendale Boulevard and Hyperion Avenue corridor. We also have historic preservation and restoration, multimodal traffic safety and efficiency improvements, and also water quality improvements. On May 9, 2016, following the approval of the environmental document, the board authorized BOE to issue an initial task to SOMAS to provide the final preliminary design documents and right-of-way services for the project with a budget authority of $4.25 million. Subsequently, in February of 2019, we received additional authorization from Caltrans from the Federal Highway Bridge Program grant to cover expanded seismic retrofit for the arch members under the Hyperion Avenue Bridge. So the board also approved increase of the budget by $1.25 million to the total to be $5.5 million. So SOMAS's previous pre-qualified on-call contract expired on December 5th, 2019. SOMAS completed more than 75% of the previous authorized task, and approximately $1.5 million is available for the approved remaining work of this project. On November 1st, the board approved a new pre-qualified on-call list of 30 consultants to provide design and support services for BOE. We went ahead and issued this task to all 30 consultants, and this covers the remaining work of Phase 2. Two firms responded with proposals. BOE Bridge Improvement Division staff interviewed both firms in December of 2019. SOMAS's proposal and presentation during the interview demonstrated seamless coordination among the various portions of the project in the various disciplines, and they are the most qualified firm to provide the services needed for the successful delivery of this project. BOE and SOMAS did come to an agreement, negotiate cost proposal of $1,489,806. The BOE also requests a contingency in the amount of $110,194. So the total budget authority of this task is not to exceed $1.6 million. And Caltrans has authorized sufficient funding to cover the task. The contract with SOMAS was executed on November 14, 2019, and will expire on November 13, 2024. To keep the project moving in the last few months, on January 31st, 2020, BOE issued a notice to proceed in an amount of $135,000, which is within the city engineer's authority, to SOMAS to commence the work. Since this project is federally funded, the city will follow the U.S. Department of Transportation's requirement for the disadvantaged business enterprise participation. We have set the anticipation goal to be 8% for the pre-qualified on-call contract. For this task, SOMAS is pledging 33.5% for the DBE participation. And so in discussion of funding, I just want to go over briefly that the Federal Highway Bridge Program, they will pay for 80% of the preliminary engineering portion of this task and 88.53% of the right-of-way activities for this task. and the remaining local match will be paid for by Mikla Commercial Paper. That was already approved and deposited into the Bridge Improvement Program funds. So that concludes my report. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Lau. One question regarding, and I don't know if we know the answer to this or not, but we have 30 people on or 30 companies on the on-call list. Out of the 30, only 2 responded, if I understood correctly. Did we inquire as to, or do we know why we only got 2 out of the 30 that responded?
Yes, we did. Sorry, I didn't mention it earlier. However, we do normally send an email out to those who did not propose and to explain why they did not propose. And so some of the firms in general just say they did not have sufficient resources to take on a project this big. Others said that the project was further along and they didn't feel like they had sufficient information to propose by the time that we wanted it. And so those were various reasons that were given to us.
Okay. Thank you for that. Commissioner Garcia, any questions for you?
Not at this time.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 4, seconded by Commissioners Caloza and Villegas. Any objection? Any objection from you, Commissioner Garcia?
No.
Okay, then without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 4. Ms. Lau, thank you.
Thank you.
Any issue sending number 4 forthwith? We'll send number 4 forthwith. Dr. Campos, we have the 3 tree removal items remaining, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Do we have any journals to approve today?
None.
Okay. Mr. Banuelos, are you present? Mr. Banuelos, let's try again.
Yes, I'm present.
How are you, sir?
Fine, thank you.
It looks like I've got you for all 3 of the tree removals today, so let's go ahead and start with agenda item number 5, which is our next item on the agenda. From Street Services, Council District 11 requested tree removal for Los Angeles World Airport's landslide access. This is the LAMP project. We've had some tree removals every few months on this project as it has progressed. Recommending that the board first find under the California Public Resources Code, Section 2586, and the state's Environmental Quality Act Guidelines, Section 15162, on the basis of substantial evidence contained in the whole record, that since the City of Los Angeles prior certification of environmental impact report, the state clearinghouse number for the EIR is in the agenda, there have been no changes to the project, changes with respect to the circumstances under which the project is being undertaken, or new information of substantial importance concerning the project, which caused new significant environmental effects or a substantial increase in the severity of previously identified significant effects, and therefore no subsequent EIR, supplemental EIR, or other analysis is required for the project. Secondly, specify that Street Services Urban Forestry Division, located at 589 South Broadway, is custodian of the documents or other material that constitute the record of proceedings upon which the board's decision is based. And third, approve the request for a fee tree removal permit to remove 58 trees of various species. Tree replacements are required. Dr. Campos, do we have anybody in the queue on number 5?
No speakers at this time.
Okay, Mr. Banuelos, go ahead, sir.
Yes, good morning, President James, Commissioners, Dr. Campos, and Mr. Jordan. Hector Banuelos with the Bureau of Streets LA, Urban Forestry Division. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah, you're good, Hector.
Yes.
Okay, great. Streets LA is requesting a board approve the permit to remove 58 street trees for the Los Angeles World Airport's landside access monetization program for the automatic people mover phase of this program. This is a approximately 2.25 mile automated people mover that connects 3 airport stations from Metro Rail to the Metro Rail Transit Services, a consolidated rent-a-car facility, 2 intermodal transportation facilities for additional parking, transportation, and to the nearby transitways or Metro. The streets delay inspected the areas and of which are various streets of this project, of this phase here. The 9300 to 9500 block of ISIS, the 5400 to 5700 block at 96th Street, and the 5400 block at 95th Street, and the 9300 and 9600 block of Aviation Boulevard. They have about 58 trees that are going to be impacted by this construction, and therefore require removal. The Streets LA and the Los Angeles World Airport have been tracking the removals on these projects and developed a plan to replant of the trees as soon as it is feasible to do so. With that, is requesting that the board, the Streets LA is requesting the board approve their request for removal of 58 street trees. The Community Forest Advisory Committee, the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment, and the Council District Office were notified of the tree removal permit request. The Council Office is in full support of the project and its tree removals. Any questions?
No, other than just a couple of emphasis, a few things to emphasize. One, you had indicated the council office was supportive. You've got the breakdown of the trees in the board report. These trees are covered in the environmental impact report. And regarding the replacements trees, are the replacements in the vicinity of this area of this new project, Mr. Banuelos?
Yes, all the tree replacements will be 24-inch box-sized trees, and some palm trees where it's feasible. The trees here are all broadhead trees, ranging from magnolias to carrot woods, or ficus trees. It's a mix of species of trees that are going to be impacted, unfortunately. And so the Streets LA and Los Angeles World Airport are tracking the tree removals. We'll ensure that the trees are replaced 2 to 1 when it's all said and done. All the trees are going to be planted within the project limits of the Los Angeles World Airport, the LAMP, the Los Angeles Modernization Program, or the Landside Access Modernization.
Right, and do you know, Hector, you may not know this at this point, but or maybe you do. That's the question. Do we know how many additional board reports might be coming in the next year regarding further tree removals for this project? I recognize that this one is for the people mover, but there's other stuff as well.
Yes, that I'm aware of, at least 3 more will be coming forward to the board. In total, I think it was anticipated it's going to be about 618 trees removed in total when the completion of the project.
Okay, so we have some large ones coming up as well. All of that is...
Yes, we have. Yes, and this is all done kind of phase by phase, just to minimize the impact.
Understood, and also to match with the phases of the project that are being built. And recognizing that this was, these tree removals, of course, were not only contemplated but covered in the environmental impact report as required. So with that, Commissioner Garcia, I see no other questions on the queue here. Do you have any questions? Oh, Commissioner Davis. Well, let's go to Commissioner Garcia first.
No, you asked my question. I just wanted to know if the 2 to 1 number was going to go back into the same site.
Okay. Commissioner Davis, no questions? I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 5, seconded by Commissioners Davis and Villegas. Any objection? Commissioner Garcia?
No objection.
Okay, then without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 5. Any issue sending number 5 forthwith? We'll send number 5 forthwith. That moves us to number 6, also a tree removal with Mr. Banuelos. Council District 14, tree removal from 1155 South Olive Street. Recommending that the board find under the California Public Resources Code, Section 21166, and the state's Environmental Quality Act Guidelines, Section 15162, on the basis of substantial evidence contained in the whole record, that since the city's prior certification of the mitigated negative declaration, that's the M&D in this case, there have been no changes to the project, changes with respect to the circumstances under which the project is being undertaken, or new information of substantial importance concerning the project, which cause new significant environmental effects, or a substantial increase in the severity of previously identified significant effects, and therefore no subsequent M&D, supplemental M&D, or other analysis is required for the project. Secondly, specify that Street Services Urban Forestry Division, located at 1149 South Broadway, is custodian of the documents or other material that constitute the record of proceedings upon which the board's decision is based. Third, review and approve the request for a fee permit for the removal of 4 trees, which include 2 pink trumpet trees and 2 bottle brush trees. Tree replacements are required, and then concur with the Streets LA determination that the site cannot feasibly accommodate all of the required replacement trees, and pursuant to Municipal Code Section 62.177C, authorize the tree replacement guarantee fee to satisfy the board's tree planting requirement. Dr. Campos, anyone in the queue on number 5? I'm sorry, on number 6?
No.
Okay, Mr. Banuelos on number 6.
Yes, good morning. The Streets LA is requesting the board approve fee permit for 4 trees at 1155 South Olive Street. This is at the corner of 12th Street and Olive in the community of South Park. The developer is constructing a 16-story, 258-unit hotel development here at this project here. And in order to construct, developer part of the applicant, the developer will need to utilize the sidewalk and street areas in order to provide for material access for the development, here, including a crane, mobile concrete pumps, and overhead pump logistical support apparatus. So the Bureau of Engineering also requires the developer construct a bulb out. This is just at the corner. They're required to install somewhat of a, you've probably seen them over in downtown area where they extend out a little further into the street, and this is part of the development requirements, and therefore that will require the developer to move one of the storm catch basins, which is going to impact one tree, one pink trumpet tree there on Olive Street, and they're constructing a driveway right to the widening of the driveway there along Olive, which will also impact another one of the trumpet trees. The other 2 bottle trees on 12th Street are going to be impacted by the need to access the material and all the other logistical support for construction of the project. There's only room to plant 4 trees at this project. 1 tree will be planted on Street 1 pink trumpet, and 3 New Zealand Christmas trees planted on the 12th Street side. So that said, there's only feasible 4 planting locations are only feasible, and therefore what the balance is 4 trees will be paid for the tree planting guarantee fee. The Department of City Planner prepared a mitigated negative declaration, and Streets LA reviewed the mitigated negative declaration, and determined that the trees are properly addressed. The Council District Office 14, the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment, and the State Advisory Committee were notified of the tree removal permit request.
Thank you.
There's going to be 36 they're going to be 36-inch block-sized trees also, and they're going to be watered for a minimal period of 3 years to the establishment period. Any questions?
No, I don't have any questions. Commissioner Garcia, any questions from you?
No questions.
All right, thank you. I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 6, seconded by Commissioners Caloza and Davis. Any objection? Commissioner Garcia, any objection from you?
No objection.
All right, without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 6. Any issue sending 6 forthwith? We'll send number 6 forthwith. That moves us to agenda item number 7, also with Mr. Banuelos. Council District 12, tree removal at 16201 San Fernando Mission Boulevard. Recommending that the board first find under the California Public Resources Code, section, this is all sounding very familiar today, section 21166 and the state's Environmental Quality Act guidelines, section 15162, on the basis of substantial evidence contained in the whole record that since the City of Los Angeles prior certification of the mitigated negative declaration, that's the MND, the number is in the agenda, there have been no changes to the project, changes with respect to the circumstances under which the project is being undertaken, or new information of substantial importance concerning the project which caused new significant environmental effects, or a substantial increase in the severity of previously identified significant effects, and therefore no subsequent MND, supplemental MND, or other analysis is required for the project. Secondly, specify that Streets LA, Urban Forestry Division, located at 1149 South Broadway, is custodian of the documents or other material that constitute the record of proceedings upon which the board's decision is based. And third, review and deny the request to remove 7 crepe myrtle trees for required street widening. This is a requested denial on the tree removal. So, Mr. Banuelos, go ahead, sir, and you can explain why Streets LA does not think these trees warrant removal. Go ahead.
Yeah, good morning. The Streets LA is always looking for ways to preserve trees whenever possible. These are mature, healthy crepe myrtle, albeit not the largest trees, but they are healthy. They're established, well established, and they Streets LA determined that they're worthy of preservation and to be retained in place. The Streets LA, the developer here is constructing a mixed-use construction of 240 new residential units here at 16201 San Fernando Mission Boulevard in the community of Granada Hills. As part of their conditions, the developer is required to widen the roadway. They're approximately 4 feet, anywhere between 2 to 4 feet there, from a 32-foot or 31-foot half roadway to 35-foot half roadway. The roadway, there's no areas or in the immediate area there, the properties that have been widened. And the Streets LA, albeit we're not engineers, but we do not see that this is going to improve traffic circulation. The Streets LA reached out and spoke with some of the representative there with the Bureau of Engineering. And the representative for Bureau of Engineering did not have any objections to our recommendation that we deny the request and start the process that the street widening be either deferred or waived. So if the board approves our request to deny this permit request, the Streets LA will notify the Bureau of Engineering respective area office and to work with the applicant and to either implement the exercise cash in lieu payment option acceptable to B permit section for the required street widening, and or defer the modify the required street widening condition acceptable to both the Bureau of Engineering and the advisory agency. The Community Forestry Advisory Committee, the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment, and the respective council officers were notified of the tree removal or the request to deny the tree removal permit request.
So, go ahead.
If the board does not they approve our request to deny the request, then the applicant will replant trees, 2 to 1, the 24-inch box-size trees.
Okay, so, Mr. Banuelos, if I understand correctly, and this is laid out in the board report, there's not, while there is a requirement for this applicant for a street widening, it does not appear that that is imminent, and the other adjacent areas have not experienced the widening in this corridor. Therefore, according to the board report, with this denial, the applicant can exercise a payment option acceptable to the B permit section for engineering for the required street widening, and you can defer that so that the tree removal denial does not, at this point, interfere with the project, and there may be an opportunity to end up saving the trees.
Yes, that's correct.
Mr. Jordan, is that squared with everything in your mind?
Yeah, it's obviously an unusual situation when we have imposed a requirement on, the city has imposed a requirement on the developer, and another arm of the city is essentially preventing them from meeting that requirement. The requirement being to do the actual improvement. If the Bureau of Engineering is willing to accept that, bonding in lieu of the requirement, and if, on the planning and building and safety side, if that acceptance by the Bureau is sufficient for the developer to complete their project and get their certificates of occupancy, then I would have no objection to that.
Yeah, I agree. I think the one thing, Hector, I would do on this, obviously, as you indicated, assuming that the board follows Streets LA's recommended denial, and based on what is in the report and what I've heard so far, I would be inclined to do that to see if we can save these trees at this point. If engineering has an issue that could affect their ability of the project to go forward without the tree removal, then you could invite the applicant to to reapply for the tree removal permit with the additional information from engineering. Right now, it sounds like the opportunity to save the trees might work. So I would be okay with the recommendation from Streets LA at this point. Is there a second on my motion for that? By Commissioners Villegas and Davis. Commissioner Garcia, any objection?
No, no objections.
Okay, no objection. Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 7. Is that okay, Mr. Banuelos?
I'm sorry, President James.
Yeah, let me make my question more clear. Just as I was making my motion, I just wanted, if engineering, we've just decided to agree with Streets LA's denial of this tree removal permit. So understanding that Streets LA and Urban Forestry Division is going to go to engineering, advising them of this denial and seeing if they can work with the developer regarding the bonding, the payment that Mr. Jordan explained a moment ago. If it ends up being that engineering does not accept it, and the lack of removing the trees interferes with the project, I just wanted to make sure that you invite the applicant to reapply based on that additional information from engineering. But it looks like we're going to be able to avoid that. We'll see.
Yes, understood.
Okay, got it. Then any issue sending number 7 forthwith? We'll send number 7 forthwith. Thank you, sir. Dr. Campos, have we cleared the desk today?
Yes, you have.
Okay, before we adjourn, let me say some thank yous. Again, every time we have one of these meetings, it is a lot of work by a lot of people, and we greatly appreciate it. I see Dawn from ITA. Thank you, Dawn. And Lamisha here in the office, or in the boardroom. Thank you. Truman was here earlier. Dr. Campos, thank you. And Council Audio was here as well. So thank you, everyone. That leads me to the next point, Dr. Campos. Are there agenda items that need to be heard such that we should have another meeting this week on Friday, perhaps?
Not at this time.
Okay, so we will, then unless something comes up that we need to call a meeting on Friday, this will be our only meeting of this week at this time. That's correct, Dr. Campos?
That is correct, yes.
Okay, and we can decide towards the end of the week what days we meet next week. Most likely, I would expect a Tuesday. And that's when I anticipate that the next council meeting may be as well, although they may have a meeting this week that's possible too. But I do think that they may be planning to meet the first Tuesday in April. But that'll be our next meeting unless we hear otherwise. Thank you, everyone. We are adjourned on this Tuesday morning. Have a safe week, and remember physical distancing. Thank you.
Thank you.
We are adjourned.